Check, check. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ted Brown Music. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kareem Kandi, and I'm the head of the executive director for the Kareem Kandi World Orchestra, which is a 501c3 nonprofit here in Tacoma. I've been teaching with Ted Brown Music now since 1998. I also teach the jazz improvisation class at the Tacoma School of the Arts. I've been doing that for 25 years. Almost that same amount of time, I've had the pleasure of knowing this tremendous musician and composer and world traveler and educator. This is the great Ali Jackson. How about it for Ali, ladies and gentlemen? And this is our good friend Serge on the bass. If you've been to Ted Brown before, you probably know Serge. Head of pro audio. And before we get started, we'd like to, of course, thank Yamaha for helping make this possible, and of course, Ted Brown Music. So please give them a nice round of applause. So we're coming up on the tail end of a 2-week run that we're doing here. We do this about once a year. Ollie comes out to teach and perform, and we're very happy that he does, because he can do lots of other things. If you've read his bio, he's toured and performed and recorded with everybody, and that's it. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just read his bio, you'll see it. So today we're going to do a little bit of playing. We're going to we'll talk about music. I mean, there's no format. It's kind of open-ended. So if you're here to learn about gear and equipment, we're happy to discuss that. If you want to talk about performing, practicing, touring, anything music related, it's kind of an open book. So and of course there was some miscommunication with the bass player that's doing our run. And so we asked Serge like maybe 30 minutes ago, "Hey Serge, you play bass? You want to play some music with us?" And he said yes. So we said great. So exactly. So you're going to see how this works. This is not like a well-rehearsed performing group. This is putting stuff together, the nuts and bolts of like how to play with people. We've never played together musically ever in our lives. So jazz or spontaneous composition, if you will, is a living, breathing music. It's a language like anything else that can be studied and learned with practice and reps with intention. And so yeah, that's where we are. So before we get going, does anybody have any questions for us about anything that I just mentioned? Any questions? No? All right. I'm going to pass the microphone over to Ali and let him give some words of wisdom.
Well, thank you very much, Kareem Kandi, everyone. And Serge, who you might know, once again. I mean, I want this to be as informative as it possibly can be for all of you. I spent my life, I mean, you can read about it, but just in general, I'm just a person like everyone here. And I was very fortunate to come up in a music household, a family. I've been playing music since I was 2 years old, like really serious at 4 years old, which I know is not common for some people, or not many people. So it's very organic. And it should always be organic with people. And I know a lot of you all here are taking lessons and all of it. But music is a personal experience. And so what I hope that I can share or impart, which some things you already know, in your own musical journey and life journey, but music is an extension of your life. So it means different things for different people. However, the most important thing is that you have joy when you're playing. And if you don't have joy when you're playing, there's a problem. Because music is always about, your, how can I say, your emotional state. And generally, if you're playing music, if you're in a bad emotional state, when you finish practicing or playing, you're in a better state. That's almost a guarantee. Those are facts. Somebody prove me wrong. Now, if you're playing a performance and you're not prepared, and you feel like you didn't give your best performance, that's completely different. But if you're playing for yourself in your own solitude and you're playing music, you're gonna feel better from before you started until when you finish. I have a couple of topics that I want to talk about, and you guys, you can go in any direction. There's no order. But I want to talk about practice, and then also playing with other people. And we're going to give some examples. So we're going to put it into real time, because as Kareem mentioned, we've not all played together and we've not rehearsed anything. So from you all, because this is participation, like it's not like I'm not going to dominate the whole thing. I mean, it's a dialogue. Excuse me. So, what's the most important thing when you're playing with other people? What's the like basic thing? The most fundamental. What do you need to do if you're playing music with more than one person? What do you have to do? Say that again, sir. Wait a minute. What was that? Listen. Listen. 100%. What helps you to listen? Anyone? This is watching. Yes.
I like, counting in, so it's easier to listen when you're all on the same page. If you're all counting.
I like counting us in together, so when we're listening, we know who's on, how it's supposed to line up.
Okay. So in line with listening,
Right.
everyone having, we call it a sympathetic or empathetic rhythm. And what helps us to have rhythm, there's a machine that people can use to at least we have a marker of rhythm. What is that called? What is that? A metronome. How many people know what a metronome is? Show of hands. Okay, most people. Or people have who's heard of a smartphone? Pretty much everyone, yeah? They have apps now that have basically all kind of different rhythms or beat machines that keep time and all these elaborate. Now, those are cool. I'm not gonna, that's completely fine if you want to use that. But a good old tick, tock, that's fine too. Now, metronomes are important because what is it? Are they all pretty much the same when you deal with beats per minute around the world? Yes? Is it kind of standardized? So, yes, it gives us a basic standard on where the beat is. Now, does it help us with how does the beat feel? Yes or no? I see a lot of no's. That is correct. Does not help you with the way you feel the beat, but it will give you an idea of everyone being at the same time or in the same orbit of time. So we're going to play a demonstration. Now, we've not played together, and I'm going to play a groove, and then let's see if we can play in time. Let's see. Like this, like F, was that? One chord. Okay. What did you guys recognize about that? What did you notice? Anyone? Okay, the beat. What about the beat?
I thought it took you just a little bit to kind of group together. Like started out, you set the tempo, and then surge came in, and you just kind of, the second, once that feel came into the meter, then it really came together.
Yes. Now, that's a very good observation. So I said what beats rock was I playing? Huh? Or quarter notes, maybe, but they could have been anything. So it was whatever it was a pulse that was consistent. Yes, they could have been 16th notes. They could have been whole notes. Could have been anything. We didn't define that. And so what the gentleman just shared, when he started playing a bass line or playing inside of whatever that derivation is, then that helped me to shade or colorize rhythmically what his groove was, what the bass line groove was. I could have just kept going, top, 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 top. Would that have been interesting? Or would have been kind of plain, yeah? No? Yes, are you sure? I mean, I can just go play. I'm gonna just do that all the time. Just top, 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 like a clock. Now, what did Mr. Kandi do? So we set up the groove and then he did what? He improvised what? What do we call it? Can y'all remember what he played? Yes, we call that a repeated phrase as a riff. So it's like, or a melody. Shoo-doo-dee, shoo-dee, oh. Shoo-doo-dee, shoo-doo-dee, shoo-doo-doo-doo, shoo-doo-dee, oh. And what is that? Is that singable? Is it simple? No, or is it complex? It's pretty simple. And that's the thing. So, did that sound bad or did that sound good? It sounded good? Why did it sound good? These are very important things. Why I'm going through this.
Everybody was complimenting everybody else.
Yes, and to compliment, what does that mean? What does compliment mean? Does it mean we're doing all the same thing, or is everyone doing something a little bit different? Everyone's doing something different, but is everyone has their own kind of space or lane, right? Everyone has a different role. That making sense? So the bass line's got a lot in it. Can you play that same bass line, sir?
That's what I started, but then I switched a little to complement that one.
Okay. Now keep going. What do you hear inside of it? Can you guys hear this? we call it? Yes, it's the groove, but it's a kind of groove. Similar, close, starts with an S as well. Shuffle. Now keep playing. Now can you simplify that groove without all of now keep it simple like that. And I wanna fill it in. So he's playing simple, but I'll fill it in. Real basic. So everything's inside. Now you play the shuffle inside. So the idea is on a very simple idea riff, you can do a lot of things, but being able to break it down to its most simple form. So I started playing double time or triple time to the groove. I mean, yeah, you can do whatever you want if you have the imagination and the ability to execute it, but the idea is it can sound good being very basic. So the whole principle here is, how can we sound good? So when you playing with your friends or on the weekend or whatever, you're in a rehearsal, sometimes it's not adding things, it's taking things away that make things sound good. It's like if you're in another country and you don't really know the language, you say like one word, you know. Like instead of like, you're in France, you say, où sont les toilettes? But if you don't know toilettes, they be like, oh, the toilet is there, or whatever, you know. It's like hot, cold, fast, slow. Those are the things that communicate. So when you play a groove that's real simple, it's like that. So you can build on basic things. If it's too complicated, it's hard to build on. And everyone has a very clear function. And I'm looking at Serge. Notice there's a lot of eye contact. We're looking at each other. Because if you have vision, sometimes just the engagement of someone is powerful. So don't be afraid to not, to look at people. Like, just look at them. Like, they're not going to kill you. I don't think. What else did you guys hear? Not the last version, but when we played kind of like the song, what did you guys hear? You remember that? Yes, sir.
The part where you all lined up all together towards the end of that first time you played together.
Yes, we
just like dun, all together.
Yeah, we did something. We did something with the harmony. What did we do? Yes, sir. Say that again, sir. A bridge, kind of like a bridge. Take it to the bridge. Y'all heard that? Take it to the bridge. And that's kind of what we did. He looked over and he didn't even say anything. Notice. He didn't say anything to me. No one said any words. He just looked over at me and was like, and then I was like, okay. And I kind of played a little feel and he got it as well. So that was all communicated with just looking at each other. We said no words. And this is not rehearsed. It's not like we worked this script out. This is on the spot. So that means just by intuition, you all have the capability and the power and the imagination to do that. And nothing really changed. It's one chord, it's one groove, it's a very simple riff melody, and it sounds good. It's not even a tune. We just made up a tune, and it sounds good. Why again? Why does it sound good? No, it's not. It's not because I sound good. You all could do the same. I'm not doing anything that anyone else with a decent basic level of playing, rhythm practice that you can do. And that's kind of the whole point here. I'm not doing anything super virtuoso.
Everything complements each other.
Yes. Everything complements each other, but it's also what? Starts with an S. We've been talking about. Simple. Simple. Okay, any questions? Anything? Yes, sir. I kind of led that to stop. He was asking how do we know how to stop? Because I kind of looked up. I think I might have said something. I was like, all right, here we go. I didn't say stop. I would say, here we go. That means probably, what else could we do? But stop. That's a lesson that I learned really young, around 12. Great musician, drummer, Max Roach. You don't know who he is, you can look him up. I was 12 years old. He did a Masterclass in Detroit, where I'm from. And he said, I played, and I knew I was like one of my heroes, and I was playing the music, and I played this drum solo piece. Thing was, it was all good, but I didn't know how to stop. And so he pointed that out. He says, you can start, you can make the statement, whatever, but you have to know how to end. And I never forgot that. So with that being said, music it's like telling stories. It's all storytelling. Like a great book, great books have you on the edge of your seat because you want to read the next chapter and you're like, man, I can't wait. You don't want to put it down. Great speakers, they captivate you. They might not even be saying nothing, but it's the way that they deliver the story. You're like, man, it's really interesting. This guy, knows how to convey like the emotion. You get emotion. What's the same with music? A great band, they keep you dancing. You're like, I don't even know why I like it. I don't even like to dance, but I'm dancing. Or it feels good. Music mostly makes us feel good, yes? No. Yes and no? Someone? Yeah, it can make you be melancholy or evoke emotions, but that's the power of music. So I want to do another exercise. I was like, maybe this is about the same thing with grooves or practice, like doing things slow, because playing slow is actually super boring. Who thinks it's boring when you practice and you have to play slow? No? It's not boring?
Can be.
You said it can be. It can be. However, it's solitude in the journey and the practice, but as you speed it up. But if you cannot play fast if you cannot play slow. So for those that want to play fast, you gotta play slow. Here, I'll give you an example. Y'all want an example of that or no? Yeah. Okay.
But this was a couple of years ago. I've, like I said, known Ollie for years, and some of the things that he says are straightforward, and other things it's like trying to decipher something Yoda tells you. But this is a story that who's the trumpet player with Lincoln Center? Marcus Prenna. We had him out here a couple of years as a guest artist, and he was talking about doing a tour, and you might have actually been on this gig, I don't know, but he was doing a tour, and Wynton Marsalis, it was the end of the show, and Wynton Marsalis went out to do an encore. He was playing Cherokee, and usually he plays very, very fast swing bebop tune. And he went out there and completely, like, he counted up blistering fast, 1, 2, 1, 2, like super fast. And he was soloing, and his solo, he couldn't get it together. It was just a mess. And he basically, long story short, basically embarrassed himself in front of all these people. Here's the great Wynton Marsalis sounding not so great. So what Marcus said, like, he was watching this unfold, and Marcus was standing on the side. He's kind of like, I can't help you. You did this to yourself. So after the concert, Wynton went back to his green room and started practicing the changes. Super, super slow. He did that for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks after that, he increased the speed. And the next 2 weeks, he increased the speed. And in about like a month and a half, he went out and did the same thing. He just absolutely just played a blisteringly amazing solo. And that's it. I mean, he didn't blame anybody other than himself. It's the important thing about this is knowing what to practice and how to practice and doing the practice. So anyways, story, back to Ali.
As they say, facts. So, playing slow. Call that frying bacon. Could get a metronome out here. Yeah.
What tempo you want?
Start with 60.
I got you in a second.
So, what do you guys notice about that? What do you notice?
You built up and then you brought it back down.
Yes, there was an arc. Absolutely. What else?
Feel in the space rhythmically without the while still saying.
Yes. And the next piece might not be so obvious. You notice how comfortable I am with playing against the metronome. Like I'm free, but I know exactly where the beat is. So I was playing against it, playing syncopated against it, playing in the slow time against it, subdividing against it. So all of those things, and it's still fluid. And it felt like I wasn't playing like I'm trying to stay with the metronome. It still felt human. So the human quality in your practice and playing is very important. You don't want to always get to the point where it's you sound metronomic. It still needs to breathe and be organic. If you're not exactly in it, sometimes I was a little behind, sometimes I pushed a little ahead, but knowing where you feel where the pulse is, and you make it feel the way you want it to feel. That's the mastery of like your instrument and being inside of the rhythm. If you follow me, it's a feeling. Now the metronome gives us, okay, this is where the clock says, but most great albums and records, they're not metronomic, they move. They're in there, but they move. Everything moves. It's like trying to make sure that the tide is at the same height every day. It's never going to happen. Yes, sir.
All over the pocket, right?
You said the pocket?
Yeah, you were getting placed in the pocket.
Yes, but intentionally. The thing is with intention. If you do things and you can get some stuff right, it's like me playing basketball. I can hit a few shots, but can you consistently do it? It's like the margins for any sport. I mean, I'll use basketball as a quick analogy. It's only because people look at pros and like pros and Joes, or could you be the old pro? It's like, man, I know some professional ball players, and the thing is, you look at stats, it's like a guy shoots 50%, that's in a game versus the highest level competition. If he's out there with you, but like a regular person, he's going to shoot 90%. He's not going to miss. And it's the same with you practicing reps, like with beats. It's like a drummer missing a beat. A professional drummer is rarely going to miss a beat. A medium level professional drummer, like a guy that's like the best guy in town, is probably not going to miss a beat at all. You start to talk about high level drummers. I'm just saying drummers, giving analogies here, like metrics, being quantitative. A high level drummer might not miss beats for years. They might not make a mistake for like 2-3 years and playing gigs all the time. So there's levels. So my point is for everyone to work on your time. You can work on your time without your instrument. You don't need to be in a practice room to work on your time. When you listen to an album or you hear something, or you're by yourself in a car ride, commuting, going from here to there, waiting in the waiting room at the dentist, you can work on your time. A good way to work on your time is also, you have a metronome, beat machine, your smartphone. You just put the light on and watch the clicks, and you can sing them or sing along with them or tap along. That will help your time. So it doesn't have to be audible, or you can listen. Like you can listen and then play against it, like kind of the exercise that I was doing. You just play. So, or like blinkers, the flashers on the car. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. I used to sing against that. Tick tock. So let's see. I'm gonna do an exercise with everybody in here. So this side, I want everybody to just clap, or actually snap your fingers. Okay, this side, keep going. This side, everybody stomp your feet. Look at this room.
1. Now I want you to play. There you go. Now double that up with the feet. I got you. I got for you. That's my part. Boom. So okay, good.
Excellent. You got very good, very good. So the thing with rhythm is infinite. There's no set amount. It's like math. You can just go like our debt in the country. It's like you just keep adding zeros. It just keeps going and going. So it's like rhythm. You can subdivide things to so small that you can't even get it. So the rhythm that I was having Serge play is based in the subdivisions of triplets. So you guys are going boom, boom, right? Boom, boom. And you guys are going ding, ding, right? Ding, ding, boom, boom. Which rhythm is that, by the way? Who knows what that rhythm is? Come on. Yeah, it's syncopated, but there's a certain kind of rhythm that's called the tune, 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 tune. That's right. What was that? No, but I like that. We can rename it to Killer Joe. It's the Charleston rhythm. Check, chun, chun, chun. Now, the rhythm I was having Serge play, so let's you guys stomp your feet again. Boom, 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 boom. Can y'all sing that?
Every third.
Third, second, and then the last is third. Okay, it's not that common, but the idea is you see that all of the different, like if you looked at a grid, it'd be like all of these notes in a grid. And it's like playing them. I think like all of the younger people now that are like learn piano, like Kareem's daughter, they learn like or like Guitar Hero, the video game, like it's like you have like the scrolling graphical interface. So if you looked at all of the notes and how you can delineate every note in every time signature, and how they all fit together. Now, the crazy thing is this. When you play music in different times, and so you guys hear about this with African music, like West African music, Moroccan music. The music, when I was over there, this is just a heck of a lesson in general. You're like, man, well, how do you, with a Western mind, this is like Western thought, we think of things like this in a graphical type of way. This goes back to the point we were saying earlier about you can have the metronome in time, but it's like, well, how do you feel that, or how do you hear that? Like, that's more important than, like, what is that? Is that in 4? Is that in 6? Or is that in 3? Or is that in 2? You're like, it's all in one. They don't think about the time like that. It's like, hey, man, you came in on the other side. It's like, no, it's just where it is. Wherever they start, that's where we come in. Wherever that starts, if the bell is there, then we just go there, which is a very interesting and organic way of playing and like feeling music. So it's like you feel it. Feeling it is way more important than like getting the notation. And I feel like this is very important in the time that we're in now, because everything is analyzed, is so analytical that people just don't know how to just feel it. Just feel it. Don't count it, feel it. So I like to do this exercise too. So I'm gonna switch sides. So this side, you guys are gonna be in 2, and this side is gonna be in 3. So I'm gonna have you guys go. Y'all can sing it even. Doom, 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 or 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to count, though. I'll just rather y'all just go. Doom, 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 doom. Keep it going. Ching, 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 ching. Feel that? Or can you guys do both at the same time? So can you ching, 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 or yeah, clap your hands. You could do that too. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that relationship is all throughout everywhere. And where it's not in 4 or 6, where they blend together and it's just its own thing. It's just an amoeba. It's just a thing. And that's kind of like how life is. You can't explain it, but it's just like when it's there, and you feel the groove of the two things together. So in quote unquote jazz music, you have that going on all the time. The 3 and the 2, or the 6 and the 4 going on. Like that's what the swing rhythm is, and the shuffle. So ting, 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 ting. So just give an example of that. You know Afro? How about
Any of the like Cuban so.
yeah, I'm just trying to think of
The 2.
yeah, how about all blues?
how about this? How about
Maybe
like
just
simple
tune
walking
in
in one?
whatever tune he wants in that group, just play that feel and I'll switch it.
Okay. So just be on blues, but like G blues. So like in 4, 2, uh, uh, uh.
I started messing around with the time at the end, so you guys noticed that. You know what that was? Yeah, well, that was the melody, but it wasn't really the tune, because he doesn't know the tune. So we played a blues with the Afro blue melody on top of it. So we're being creative. So the idea was the relationship between 3 and 2. So I played like 4 different variations of 3 and 2 or 4 and 6, or however you want. So what did I do in a minute? He made a face like, oh my God, what's going on?
Like, what do you question your own time inside? It's like, is it?
What was that? What rhythm did I impose? Or did I accompany where he was? It's all African. It's just 3 and 2. So he's going doom 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 doom. I'm a ting 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 ting. 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3. But doing it very relaxed. What was that? Exactly. It was a waltz. Inside of that, but to play it very relaxed and organic, so it makes you go like, whoa. Because the feeling of how you play it. I could have went ting, 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 but I went ting, 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 ting. Laid it back. So it gives a different feel. So every little thing that you do gives it a coloration. It's like you colorize it. It's like you do a picture and like pencil, and then somebody comes around and it's like, oh, highlight it, or say different shades of pencil. Somebody really detailed, like all of those little things. That's what makes it cool. You know, all of the little subtleties. Yes.
I want to add some stuff to what Ollie's doing, because I know many of you out there that are musicians, and someone's like, I have no idea what you're doing. So that's an excellent question. Like I said, sometimes talking with Ollie, it's like, there's all these great concepts, but it's like, what the hell are you talking about? So how to do this stuff, how to go from wherever you are right now with your rhythmic level to being able to even comprehend and understand what he's saying. When I was in college, I was very, very fortunate to have a wonderful professor by the name of Julian Priester. Julian is he's still alive, still around, great trombonist. He had played and recorded with Max Roach and Johnny Griffin, Freddie Hubbard, Herbie Hancock, Duke Ellington, Count Basie, a lot of these guys that Ollie studied with. And he taught our rhythm class. And so we all had to play drums in that class, but more importantly, he had some very specific exercises that deal with what he's talking about right now. So, and this is a tangible thing that you can take home right now and work on and practice to develop your time. Number one, like everything that Ollie is saying, we have to be comfortable with the time. If we can intellectually know something, but if you can't make it feel good to be relaxed with it, it's always going to trip you up when you play, inevitably. So what Julian would have us do, and let me back up, all of these things that we're talking about is about, like Ollie said, is one beat. You can break that beat up into 4 equal parts, 3 equal parts, 2 equal parts, or 1 equal part. So quarter notes, 8 notes, triplets, 16ths. So what Julian would have us do is just take one beat. We're thinking 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. And if this is new to you or uncomfortable, do this slowly with the metronome so you can do it accurately. But you start with just the first part. We can do this together. Just tap, clap your hands or sample. You can go 1 triplet, 1 triplet. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1, perfect. And you can do this with a lot of people. Like if you're a teacher, you can do this with many students or just by yourself. Now we're gonna do the second part. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. Now as you can see, I'm tapping my foot. If that's difficult for you to do that and do this with 2 limbs, use a metronome. Now we're gonna do the third part. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. Let's try it together. And 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. And then the last part of this, you can do the first 2. 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. The important thing here is intellectually you know it, but you're starting to feel it and get comfortable with it. Last part, or the second last part, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet, 1 triplet. And then the last part, which is you do the first one and the last one, which simulates the rag cymbal pattern. One triplet, one triplet, one triplet, one triplet, and one triplet. We couldn't even touch the drums until we could demonstrate that we could do that. Then we would do the same thing with 16th notes. And I've asked Ollie about this over the years, like, Ollie, how do you practice it? Play quarter notes every possible way you can do that. So for example, just take 16th notes, right? One E and a, one E and a, same exercise. One E and a, one E and a. Do the first one. One E and a, 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 one E and up, one E and up, and all the different variations. And the more and more you do that, that strengthens your awareness and feel at the time. So the next step to do all these polyrhythmic things, and Julian would explain when they were working the stuff with Herbie Hancock's band out, you take these things, you take triplets. One triplet, one triplet, one triplet, one triplet, one triplet. Now right now, you're intellectually hearing me say one triplet, one triplet, one triplet, one triplet, but if I group the numbers differently, so we have our pulse and our subdivision, 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2 4 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. So you're feeling that against the time. 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5. So will you understand all the different groups from around the world to be able to do that? No. But will you be able to feel the subdivisions better and count it and be more comfortable feeling the time? Yes. So feel free to add.
That's it. Those are the fundamentals. If you can feel those things, that's what I would recommend. Is to venture into first having a basic fundamental time and then start getting into tuplets and all of that. I don't want to get everybody. The whole idea is to feel good and have fun. Then you get into like the whole weeds, and it's like, man, you don't need all of that to have a good time. Now, you can. I'm not stopping anyone from doing that. You can go as far as you want to go. But generally, people get into the, like all of the, how can I say it? It's complicated. It's only complicated if it's complicated to you. But you can go as far as you want to go with the amount of things you can do. To me, the most important thing is, can you be honest and can you tell a story? And I think some of the gentlemen, a couple of guys, we had a class earlier this week. You could play one note and be great. What do you do with that one note? It's the power in that. Great trumpet player Roy Hargrove played unbelievable ballads, but it's like you play one note and you're like, man, feels so. One note with the right intention is very powerful. So I don't want people to get chased away with all of the math and like, man, I didn't go to math class to play all of this stuff. I just want to sound good. Like that's power in that too. So I don't want to get it where people, you feel like you have to do all of these things. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. But the most important thing is, can you tell an honest story through your instrument, and can you sound good with other people? I feel like that's primary. So, any questions?
You do that last two. We play variations of the same rhythm.
I was playing, and he wanted to play a song, and I know Serge didn't know that song, but he played a song that Serge knew, and I knew that he was going to do a groove from this other song on that, so I took what I could from the other song, and I just superimposed it on top of the time that they were doing. So I basically made everybody happy. So I made we played the melody that Ollie wanted to play on top of the groove that Serge was able to play, and we just made it fit. So that's that song.
Improvisation. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But any questions about anything? Yes. Well, the piece that we were trying to attempt to play is called Afro Blue by Mongo Santa Maria. And so there's many different versions, but that's one. Wayne Shorter's Footprints. What do you think of?
Blue Rondo a la Turk.
Dave Brubeck Blue Rondo a la Turk, which is a little more common because there's other stuff in there, but it deals with meter change and tuplets. So that's a good example. It's a little more complex. There are versions of Someday My Prince Will Come because it's in 3, and the idea of 3 and 2. My Favorite Things, the John Coltrane version. That's a good one. So it has the relationship with 3, and it's an American songbook classic, but the treatment is very different. So that's also a very cool thing too, is when you can take one song and take a melody and then create an arrangement and make the treatment completely different. So that's another thing we can talk about. Because music, there's endless. It's only based on how much information you have. So
That whole album, Miles Smiles, they did a lot of that. That was one of the first.
yeah, Miles Smiles is another great album for that, where they take American songbook songs and they give them like refreshed arrangements. There's one actually, we did something recently. I have a trio called Yes Trio, and there's an arrangement that we play written by Aaron Goldberg. The Best Is Yet to Come, but it's got a real kind of crazy arrangement. So you know the song, and it's a pretty long form. So the form of the song is long, but the arrangement goes through all of these different metric movements. So it's on an album called Spring Sings. Yes Trio. And it's also in a trio format, so piano, bass, and drums, so you can hear everything. And it's recorded really well, so everything is very clear. So you're like, oh, I see what they're doing here, I see what they're doing there. Sometimes just being able to listen, and we go back to listening. If you can hear it, then you can do it. That's my philosophy.
There's that Christmas Carol.
There's a Christmas Carol that does this, like within the song. You can see it in some of the method books here. It's Here We Go Wassailing. So if we got our beat, it's 3, it's 6/8 or 3, and then it goes to 2. So that's an easy example of a tune like that.
Other questions, concerns, the state of music affairs?
Something I've been interested in, I see you play a lot. For example, you have a tambourine on this arm up there. So you do lots of different techniques and you explore a lot of different things. How is your approach to finding this stuff? Creating it, or maybe you can talk about that.
Okay, the question is, he sees a tambourine on the rack tom, and Ryan's asking, well, how do I come up with these ideas or these concepts? Or using the tambourine or incorporating it specifically to the tambourine or just in general?
I've seen you do all kinds of things, not just today, over the years. I've seen all kinds of things. So you explore, so I'm kind of curious, what is maybe you can talk about your method of exploring different sounds
that are unconventional, like how do I explore different sounds on the drum kit and using different percussion?
You can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's all based on the music that you're playing. So, certain music has traditional things that are done with that particular style. Let's say if we were playing, like
like Culture Walk with D. Culture Walk? Yeah, so it's a hymn, but don't worry about it.
If I give you guys, let's put it this way, I'll just play the examples instead of me talking about it.
Maybe I could talk and play. I could do both. So
If I were to play, like if you were in church and you heard I want to lay down by the riverside, down by the riverside, down by the riverside. I want to lay down by the riverside. No. So that's one way of playing, right? Now that's like a New Orleans style of playing. It's like a New Orleans kind of style of playing with a combination of like Shannon Powell, Pearl Riley, Zigaboo from Leaders. Miss Jenkins from the church. Miss Jenkins from the church. And then I can just change and then go down to Brazil. And I can go back to this. So I could go on and on all day. Like subdividing times and things, and I'm just looking at you guys, and so things will pop into my head, and I'll just play them in time. So it's not I guess it's having a library of information, like a big computer, like a cloud. I got a big cloud. So I just go into the cloud and say, oh, how about this or that? And then you got some software that says, oh, some Ali software, like not AI, but ALI. And I go in there and say, hey, hook up this groove that's mixed with this and that and the other thing, and you can just play it. And then it's also informed by who am I playing it for. So you guys, this is this is a fresh batch for you all. It's not like it's pre-rehearsed. I'm coming up with this stuff like right now on the spot. So all of these things are relevant to the experience that you have. So my imagination can be super wild sometimes, like use of the tambourine, use of the style, a mix of all of these different things. So I don't know if that explains it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, I've seen you do everything from hand boat to stop the floor to gold crush to flipping brushes to all kinds of like so many different things and surfaces and sounds. I was wondering if you had maybe it just comes to you, or maybe there's a method of how, oh, I'm gonna get everything I can out of the snare, or I'm gonna get everything I can out of the top. Maybe maybe some of your approach.
I don't know how much of that you heard, but he was just saying, do I extract basically everything I can out of a specific instrument or a combination? Sometimes I think that way, like how many different ways can I play this particular groove or this particular thing? And it takes time, obviously. You know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. You work on the technique to do it. So those are valid points. But if you see it and if you think that, that means I must be doing it. So if you can recognize it's like, man, this guy is not just taking different approaches every time you play, and it could be the same tempo. So the idea just in that demonstration was I took the same pulse and applied all of these different vibes to that same particular pulse. So that's something that, I mean, everyone has the ability to do. And we all can do it. It's just like, do you have the information to be able to do it? So I guess to answer your question, I've synthesized a lot of different ways of playing and different people's approaches or influences, and I put them all together to make it like my own brew, I guess, home brew, Ali brew.
I have a question. I have a question similar to what you asked, like with your teacher Max. I saw the old clip of him playing the hi-hat, and I was like, I didn't know you can do this to the hi-hat. He been playing all over the like things that you never even thought you can hit on. So that was such a creative thing, and I've seen you do it. Maybe can you maybe show some examples and talk a little bit approach about where to hit, how to hit, and rhythmically and musically?
Well, there's also well, I don't know if you guys hear all of that, but he was speaking of the great Max Roach and how he used the hi-hat as its own separate instrument. Like the drum kit is basically an orchestra of percussion instruments, and that's basically how it was used. It's put together. It's like a contraption kit. That's basically what it was. In the capitalist construct that we're in, it used to be multiple drummers on the gig, and they were like, man, this is too expensive. Can we cut this down? It was like 5, then 4, then 3, bass drum, cymbals, snare drum. They're like, nah, how about just one guy? Can you cover all the things? And that's basically how we have the drum kit. So there didn't used to be a hi-hat. Like, this thing you step on, it used to be a low boy. And Joe Jones, Papa Joe Jones, is one of the masters and kind of progenitors of the low boy becoming the hi-hat that we have today. And the hi-hat cymbals are like a huge staple in most all music nowadays. Like, people use it in lots of different ways. But Max Roach took the hi-hat and, I don't know, put it in the foreground, I should say, as a solo instrument. So he play all kind of different stuff and get all kind of different sounds out of just the 2 hi-hat cymbals. So I'll just give a little demonstration of that. Yeah, that's the hi-hat. That's just an improvisation on just some of the colors that you can get out of the instrument and the techniques that they use. You cut your hands up playing the side stick on the side of the hi-hat. When I was young, my hands were always, the people that saw the movie Whiplash, you wouldn't get your hands bloody from practicing. You get them bloody from that though. Hitting the side of the hi-hat cymbal. But yeah, that's just one way or one approach of just using this instrument. I think when I met Kareem or the first time we played together, I came to the gig with a ride cymbal, a snare drum, and a hi-hat cymbal. And he was freaking out.
Yeah. Yes.
He was like, man, where are all the drums? Like, what? I was like, relax, it'll be fun.
And it was.
Yeah, you just have to know the function of what it is that you're doing.
Ryan, I want to answer your question because I know that this will make more sense because I've asked all of you about this. So to your point, like, where do you get these ideas from? And we had this conversation before. We were talking about the level of depth of musicians. You know, if you talk to someone and have a conversation with someone that's read 10 books, they can speak on those 10 things, depending on how much they've comprehended the information. Same thing with someone that's read 200 books, they're gonna have a lot more things to say and draw from for the conversation. So I know for a fact, like I was asking about the great drummer Billy Hart. It's like, yeah, I knew Billy. I used to go watch him play, like not just talk to him and learn, but like go to the gig and watch him. And I know that Ollie has had access to all these brilliant minds, Elvin Jones, Max Roach, Billy Hart, on, to not only be around their sphere of influence and have conversations with them about concepts, but also watching them play personally and checking out and really learning a lot of music, not just listening to music on the surface, like, oh, that sounds nice, but what are they doing? And the more, and he's done this with countless albums, so the more things that you assimilate and internalize, the more things you'll have to draw from, because you're like, oh, this is possible, or that's possible. So that's one way to look at it, I would think.
Well, thank you, Kareem. I would say that I talk a little bit about some of these. I had a series, and when COVID happened, everybody was trying to figure out what was going on. But I did a video series called About It. You can check it out now. I did a season of it, like 7 musicians that were living. So I always think about, when people become the ancestors, it's kind of like they're celebrated, but you got to celebrate the people that are still here, and you can go check them out. So this series is like a little profile series about people that are around that you could go see. And so Billy Hart is one of the people that we profile. Al Foster, who's no longer with us, is another person that I profile. Now, these are drummers that had a significant influence on the scene, created a lot of great music and artistry. So Billy Hart is somebody I knew personally, but someone like Al Foster, I didn't know him that well personally. I met him, but I didn't know him. However, I studied him, and I was around him, and I went to his gigs, and I had friends of mine that played in his bands. So that also connects you to someone, get to know their personality and how they are. So I say that because you can go check it out right now on YouTube, and it's free, and you can get some insight of like what records they played on, or like I talked about, like, what their influences were, why are they significant, like all of these little pieces. So I'm always a believer you can learn something from everyone. So I've played a lot of great gigs or performances in my life, and I've played a lot of sad gigs too. So I learned just as much from the gigs that aren't the most happening than the ones that are great. So they're all a part of the whole journey. And so this whole experience with you all, this is a part of our journey. I don't know, is there any other questions, concerns, feedback?
It's called About It, right?
About it, yeah. Like, who's about it? It's like slang. It's like apostrophe B-O-U-T. It.
So as an educator for 25 years in the public school system, I know this thing. So what what I would like to have happen is you're all there. Don't be afraid to ask questions. There are no dumb questions. And so we've got Ollie here. This is a very unique experience too. He's right here. You can like, hey Ollie, what kind of sticks do you use? Yamaha is the greatest drums in the world, right, Ollie? All of these things, and you can ask him right now. So don't be, there are no dumb questions. If you want to know about practicing, if you want to know conceptual stuff, if you know what it was like recording with Willie Nelson, any if you think it's a weird question, whatever, just ask it. He's right here. So please ask questions. We work very hard to make this happen, and we would love to have your engagement. So please ask him, barrage him with questions.
Thank you, Kareem.
I'm here to help.
I'll share, you mentioned Yamaha drums. I have a very interesting story on how I ended up being a Yamaha artist. I was living in Japan, actually, at the time. I lived in the Pacific Northwest, actually not far from here in Gig Harbor, like a whole lifetime ago. And I was living in Japan. I get a call. This is before cell phones, really. I mean, there were cell phones, but not really.
They were this big.
Yeah, they were either huge, really, really large and expensive. So I was in my apartment in Yokohama, Japan. I get a call from Elvin's wife, Keiko. Elvin told me to call you. We're gonna be in Japan for 3 weeks and come out to the gigs, and so they would do these runs all over Japan. They do a run in Tokyo and like the pit in for like a week. This is like old school, like gigs now they're like so fast they're gone before they even start. You're like, what? But anyway, I'm in Japan. I get a call, like, yeah, for sure, come out. So I go see Elvin. I think I went to the hotel and saw him. He's like, yeah, Elvin. I was like, man, I'm trying to get an endorsement deal. I'm trying to play drums, and I think at the time it was like Gretsch was coming back and Sonar. And Elvin was like, yeah, he talked like, I'll leave. Well, you should play the drums I play. And I was like, man, I tried to reach Yamaha. They, no one got back to me. He was like, what? Stuff like that, real animated. Anyway, he says, don't worry about it. I left it alone, didn't think about it. A couple days later, he calls me, he says, meet me for lunch at so-and-so place. I forget, some restaurant in Tokyo. I go to the restaurant. Elvin's sitting there with the head of Yamaha drums, Hagi-san. And he goes, you want some young talent? Here he is right here. From then on, I've been with Yamaha. That's almost 30 years. Almost 30, and that's scary to say. Like that much time has gone by. So there you go. That's my Yamaha story. The quick version. Yes, sir.
You're in the region in the neighborhood, are you taking lessons or doing work with young students from the art?
I'm always open. I'm not currently residing here. I'm here for now, but we have this thing called the internet that came out a few years ago. So I can be available via online, via Zoom or Google Meets, whatever. I don't know. I hate to use any kind of what's the word? Company names, unless it's Yamaha. No.
So drumming instruction is what's just as well online.
Yes, well, this is what I say. It's music instruction in general. The thing is like someone can be a guide. You got to do the work. It's like you can't. Like the teacher can only give you the information, but you got to put the work in. It's like going to the gym, like having a trainer. Like, and if your trainer is too nice, he's probably not a good trainer. The trainer's probably like, look, man. You better lift that weight. So you can, how can I put it this way? There's nothing like in person, for one. When somebody's there, you can physically see them and be like, wow, I experienced that. However, technology has made it where you still have some level of access that's human and personal. However, the work, like I can't go grab your hands and be like, no, you should feel more like this or that. However, it's much closer than that than it was before we had like video conferencing and technology. So to answer the question is, yes, availability virtually, absolutely. In person, it all depends. I mean, sometimes I'll give lessons for nothing, but you have to pay for me to get there and all the other stuff, which that can be very expensive. That's what I always say. I said, I do the gig for free. You got to pay me to get there and deal with all of the hassles in the airports and losing your bags and all that good stuff.
Okay, I'm a piano teacher, and I've had people ask me to do lessons, and I just can't picture how it works. So would you have the camera on the students, like, you're a drummer, but, so would you have the camera on the students' hands so they can see, or are you just listening and you have it on their face?
I can listen. It just depends on how, the level of your hearing. I've done this piano students, saxophone students, trumpet students. I've taught all kinds of different instruments. And music is really about concepts. Once you learn the fundamentals of every instrument, music is music.
Is there a platform better than Zoom to get music across? Because I haven't been super
That's a technical question, and that would have to do with if you have ability to have an audio interface that allows you to have a different microphone and set up your settings to where you can hear. Because if you think about it, all video conferencing, all of the setups and the audio is based on voice. It's not necessarily based on instruments or people playing other sources other than the voice. So there are settings. I know Zoom has settings where you can obviously use a different source, a microphone, and settings that are for instruments or music or other things. So,
I just people ask all the time, like, how does that work?
We sell this here. I can talk to you and
Yeah.
walk you through about it.
as Surge.
And I'll jump in here because I do a fair amount of online teaching as well, and I have been for the last 15 years. So you've got Zoom, you've got Skype, you've got WhatsApp, you've got Facebook Instant Messenger. They all work pretty well. Actually, for me, Zoom has been the worst because it does like mic damping and it shuts it down.
Yeah.
I've had way better luck with FaceTime, but the big thing is what you want to have is a good,
What you want to have is good connectivity between you and your home and the student in their home, because what's terrible is if you're having a lesson that keeps cutting out and then they're just wasting their money for a lesson that they're not really getting. So the important thing is to have good connectivity on both ends and just find one of those that works for you and them. And it could be different. You might have to find a different platform for one student to the other, but the ones that I mentioned have all been pretty good, at least for me in my experience.
Here's another way too. I had them do homework, so I said, hey, play this piece, and they record it, and they just email it to me. Be like, bar 7, bar 20. In the last 8 of the tune, you need work on that. That always works too. I mean, I spent a lot of time just listening. So as much time as I spent playing, I probably spent at least double that amount of time listening to music. At least. And that's why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. Yes.
I know it's your workshop, but I was wondering if I could ask Serge, that last improv that you guys did together where you started going down the polyrhythm jungle, and I noticed that you really simplified your pattern. At what point do you go from big ears to just kind of drowning it all out so that you're always on the one?
So there was a couple of things. The first thing, we'll talk about the communication without talking. At the end of it, when I looked at the Ali, I thought it was the end of the tune. And I was like, get prepared to stop, and then he switched the rhythm, and I was like, oh, I'm supposed to play at that time. And that will take me a couple bars to get in there, and then I'll lock in my head to like, okay, I still have to put the quarter notes in and still keep the form, whatever, because the rhythm change. You play like 6/4, like, well, in my head, like the triplets, and then I was like, okay, the time is changing, but I'm thinking in quarter notes, but I also thinking in the form. So I have to keep in the form, make sure that we're gonna all end up, because when we change in the chords and at the end of the form, we start it again, then I'll usually change for something else, because we, three of us, keep the form in the same time. I think that's what, I hope that answered, but yeah, it was hard to lock in first, because I actually thought we were gonna have to do it. I was like, nope, we still have to play. So, and I continued to play the quarter notes, but I think the form helped me to be with them at the same page.
Along the same line, when you're improvising on that, and it's not an actual solo section, but you know, you just kind of start throwing it in. At what point are you thinking, okay, you know, are the other voices, you know, still able to keep plate spinning before you have to kind of jump off and you know, come back to what's the pattern?
There is no pattern. We just got, I just went for it. I didn't know I was even gonna do that. I said, oh, okay, well, I was thinking that I wanted to give you guys an example of 3 or 6/4, 3/2 in a different way. Because I was playing basically 6 and 4. So that was like a waltz inside of the 4. So I said, well, let me give that example. But immediately when they were like, oh, shoot, because the feel is so different, it's a completely different feeling. And I was just making sure I'm being very confident and clear so they know that I'm not messing up. Like, I know this is exactly what I want to do. So when you're confident about whatever it is you're doing, it gives confidence to the other people to be either they stay home or they go with you. It's basically 2 things. Somebody plays polyrhythms. This happened recently on a gig with a young musician, like 22, really talented young bass player. And I guess, I mean, sports analogies are good because we're American and everybody's like, you know, strung out on sports. Not everybody, but I guess it's like a drug or something. But most times when I'm playing music, I'm very mindful of who I'm playing with and their level. I guess at different levels. Like you go into a situation and you know who you're working with. It's like it's your job maybe. If you're a senior manager and you got rookies, you're not going to have the same expectations for them as you would some people that have more experience. So every musical situation I go into, I'm being mindful of the levels of where they are, and what can you do to make their job easier. Like I could play all kind of stuff like right now, and y'all would be like, whoa, but that's not the purpose. Yeah, I could do it, but what do you get out of it? If I lose everyone, it's not fun. So this particular gig, because this young bass player is also a student that I work with and I have a relationship with him. But it was another guy's gig. He's also a student. He's a little older, but it was his gig and I was a guest and I was playing. But my mentality was like, I'm taking training wheels off on you guys. So I'm gonna play exactly what I hear, and that's what we're gonna go. So I started playing a lot of polyrhythms of what I heard, and you should have saw the look on everybody's faces, like deer in headlights, like what is going on? And in that moment, and I'm like, I'm not throwing lifesavers, no safety nets, nothing. It's like sink or swim out here. And so the bass player tried to go with me, and he was like messing up. I turned around at him and I said, stay home. And what stay home means is don't try and do what I'm doing. You keep the bottom, you lock it down. don't try and do this when you don't, what did it say?
Go play it over them,
You listen to the great drummer Frankie Dunlop, who played with the great Thelonious Monk. All right now, don't be playing no rhythm you don't know nothing about. It's like, what is it? All up in the sauce, don't know the flavor or something, but it was one of those things. So it was like one of those scenarios. But because I have a relationship with him, and also it was a great learning experience because I grew up in a time where there was no filter. And stuff now, you be canceled forever. Stuff that you told me, they were like, get out of here.
Is that because of the internal trust for your pulse? So let's say we play in a groove, and I have internal pulse, and then you start playing polyrhythm. The pulse start changing, and then if you don't trust basically your pulse, and you start listening to what you do instead of like 2-3 thing, like listening that. So you have to basically trust your internal pulse more and stay with it, and still listening what other things do.
Yes. You guys can hear that?
Can you guys
Yeah.
play an example of that again?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's having trust in the core pulse. It's like gravity on Earth. Like we all have gravity. We're all grounded. Like just imagine if everyone had different level of gravity. Some people would be floating, some people would be way up, some people we're all pretty much grounded. So yeah, let's try that.
Would it be appropriate if I play something like that? It's really pulsy feel and it's really simple bass line. Like a lot of the Cuban music go with a 2-3 clave, like for instance, like let's say in the let's keep an F like.
So there's a lot of things going on with that. So you got the tumbao, you got him playing it ahead. I'm playing like a hybrid of like a timbalero, a conguero, not so much the sincero, but a mix of like three different drummers. So in the Afro-Latin rhythm section, you have three drummers. So in this particular case, for the example, and then without him like having to work too hard, like I'm applying a lot of different things and inflections that are not exactly like you say, it's like the coloration of the feeling of the rhythm. So let me give you an example real quick.
So, cascara is like. Right. Straight. Now. So it's a lot of different parts.
And played with different inflections, but the time is still locked. King, king, king. So what makes the music feel good is like that little like the sauce that it's just stirring in the pot, like, you know, when you got some succotash simmering, and all of the stuff is in there cooking, and it's just bubbling just a little bit. It's not simmering. That's what it's like. And you can look at it and be like, I know that tastes good. Like, that's the feeling of the groove, like all those little parts. And so when everybody's comfortable, I'm not trying to lose surge, because it's like when you start listening, I get it. It's just different stages of when you listen to something else and it's like, whoa, and then you lose a little bit of what you're doing. So it's understanding of like how all of those things fit together. And it just takes time and reps and playing with different people. There's a really great musician, I'm sorry he's no longer with us, Angad Diaz, Cuban percussionist, played with so many, some of everyone. But I learned a lot of this when I was a younger musician. Like, I used to share with him. He was like my teacher. So we would just play drum set and congas. And just his understanding of feel and time. And it's like it's nothing that you can write down. It's like you just understand what it is. And you get inside of it. And when you hear it, you know. But I hope that explains, like, you can play stuff, it's like swinging. Swinging is not easy. People think it's easy, but it's the collective of people being in the same orbit of time. That's what makes it swing, and there's a push and pull. So I'll give you guys some examples of great hookups, and you can check these out on albums that you guys can find everywhere. Now everything is in the ethos. Just one click away. So Ray Brown, Ed Thigpen, I'm giving you guys bass and drum combinations of very unique swinging. Louis Hayes, Sam Jones, live at the Jazz Workshop in San Francisco. It's an unbelievable record of just the pulse and how that blends together. Obviously, you know, Jimmy Cobb, Paul Chambers, or Jimmy Cobb, or Paul Chambers, Philly Joe Jones. Similar hookup, bass and drums. Bootsy Collins and Clyde Stubblefield. Like, that's another amazing hookup. It's not swinging, but it is swinging in a sense. It's the group of the way they play together. So why are these combinations? Or another great one, Israel Crosby, Vernell Fournier, I'm a Jamal's trio. Like, those combinations of players or people that they play together is like a symbiotic relationship. And sometimes the bass is a little bit ahead of the time. This is very subtle things that I'm talking about. Like, they feel the pulse forward. Same with Ray Brown, played on top of the beat, push the beat forward. And the drums sit more in the middle of the beat, which gives a little push and pull vibe, which makes it feel good. You're like, ooh, I want to dance to that. That feels good. So those are just, you got Jimmy Garrison and Elvin Jones. That's a very interesting kind of, Elvin Jones plays like completely like stew. He's just like, it's like water. And Jimmy Garrison is real solid and big in the time. So you have that feel. So these are all different feels and different, you know, different variations of grooving or swinging. And they're not, no two are the same, but they all are swinging. They all feel good. So I hope that answers the question. Yes, sir.
My question, all of what you're saying is technically in a way. I think there's an underpinning, it's all the music and the emotion that things are going on there. I'm interested in, you guys are pretty musicians, you're high echelon, and you work with high echelon musicians who all have egos. right? So what lessons have you learned playing with other musicians, being a musician yourself, that has helped you to integrate your gifts and your talents and your abilities, and to give and take and come together in an ensemble or a formal band? Some of the things that have helped you bind it all together in a cohesive way.
I mean, that's a very interesting question. Did everyone, we all heard that?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm from the school of the music is always first. So no matter who, the name on the marquee, and generally, if you're there, it's because you're bringing something to the music. Yes, can it get in the way? Egos and fame, or I guess fortune. Not a lot of fortune in music now, but yeah, fortunate to be playing music. That's the fortune. I think if the music is first and there's clear direction in the music, like there's been bands where there's people that the musical direction's not clear, and that always creates some kind of problem if it's not clear. There's not clarity in the musical direction. Outside of that, yeah, and then certain jobs, you're not there for your creativity, you're there for your function. And I think that actually you brought up a very good point. For a lot of people, like playing in a band, let's say you play in a cover band. Let's say you play in a wedding band. Let's say you play in a top 40 band. Let's say you play in a hip hop band. Like there's a function to your role. Like my role won't be playing 3/2 or playing, complicated grooves. It'll be playing whatever the groove is for the tune, and that's the gig. So if you go outside of that, and I know some people and some gigs I've been on, I will keep those nameless. If you vary or do anything too far creative or too much away from the tune, it's a problem. Because actually the band leader or the client is uncomfortable with the creativity. So it's a function, if that makes sense. So, if I'm playing, if I'm supposed to play, they were like, what's the drummer, the other drummer, Sticky? Can you call him, please? That's real. It's like not about creativity, it's like function, especially in bass and drums, it's function. If you're there a long time, and then I know some bands, like I sat in with the Allman Brothers when they were going before, with Greg and Derek Trucks and all of those guys, and then it's more of a jam, and that's a different kind of gig. So there's freedom. Every gig is a little different, and how the band is and how it's run. For many years, and I can talk about this. I played with Willie Nelson for a while, and there's a construct of what you can do and what you cannot do. And sometimes, like on your solos, you can play whatever you want within reason, in context. And sometimes, like kind of Ryan's point earlier you made was like, well, how do you come up with these ideas and imagination? Generally, it's from rules or confinement. Like how you get good, your imagination grows when it's like basketball. If you could just not dribble and just run and just dunk whenever you wanted to, you didn't have to dribble the ball, and there were no fouls. You could just kick somebody down, and if you didn't have rules, it changes. It's a whole different thing. It's the same with music. There's rules. Like you got to play in time. You got to play a certain groove. It's got a certain kind of shuffle vibe to it. It has all these There's all these rules. So can you be creative and imaginative with the rules? That comes out of it. So it's like, yeah, maybe I change the texture of this. Maybe I simplify that. Maybe I do it. Sometimes it's simple. I look at stuff as what can I take away? Sometimes then adding or reorchestration. But when it comes to the context, our gentleman here with the green on, I guess it's green. I'm not sure if the lights. Ego is always, first off, to be a musician, you have to have some kind of ego to be good at anything. It's the balance of humility and ego. Like, I think that's the thing with humans, or confidence. I don't even say ego so much. It's like you're confident about the things you know and also confident about the things you don't know. And you have the willingness to explore the things you don't know or approach them. Like, I give Serge a lot of credit. He's up here, like, he has no clue. He's just throwing it at this thing, and he's handling his business. So let's give Serge a round of applause. So you don't know. But there are also bands, if you overshadow the leader of the band, they can be very uncomfortable with that. Yes, sir.
Well, Blake Rich was a great brother. And he did personal insight. The way he treated his guys, I was going to be the same.
Different era, different time. So he's speaking of the great Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich is very interesting. I've produced a few shows about Buddy Rich's artistry or musicianship. And interesting, Buddy Rich was a vaudeville child performer. Like, people don't understand it. He grew up in show business, so his whole who he was as a person was just different. So it's just hard to even relate to him. And he was a product. So being a child star and then developing and being who he was, an unbelievable talent. He's like a true entertainer. Like, that's him. But how people treated him, I mean, there's stories about Ray Charles and how he treated his dad. Being a musician is not that easy. Like, if you get good enough to be a musician or a traveling musician, it's like, you'll think twice about that. I have a lot of friends that they were like, man, I'm good. I'm gonna start teaching or do something else. Because once you get good enough to actually be on the road, and I used to travel 6-7 months out of the year for like 20 years. Think about that. 2.6 million miles flown. I mean, you must love the music if you want to do all that traveling, just to travel, let alone and you could play shows that are shows. Most music that you hear live, they're shows, and they're pre-rehearsed, and they're, I'm gonna say boxed and canned. Not that they're not good, but it's not like jazz where, and I play a different show every night, different music every day, that's actually more rare. When you're playing different music every night and different people are improvising and soloing and different, like just completely different every day, which I used to think it was normal because that was my reality, but in actuality, that's very rare. It's not normal. So the level of creativity, I was a part of a Broadway production. It became After Midnight. It was on Broadway for a couple of years. Different stars they bring in to do it. But when I was with Jazz and Lincoln Summer Orchestra, and we did the pilot, basically, we did the test run for these particular shows. And we did that show for 1 week. And I'm gonna tell you, all the guys in the orchestra were like, man, can't wait. After like the third show, playing the same music, you guys are like, man, I can't wait for this to be over. Because we're just not used to playing the same, and you gotta play it the same way. It's gotta be the same every time. I play one different drum fill, they're looking around like, what happened? mean, just a little different, not like majorly different, like play exactly what's on the tape. Just what's on the tape. That's most of the music work. For shows and productions and stuff like that.
We're way over time. I'm sorry. but one more time. Big round of applause for Serge for helping us out. Our very special guest, Ollie Johnson. And of course, big thank you to Yamaha and Ted Music for putting this together. How about it? And so this is part of our overall program, and we do this about once a year. Ollie comes out for a couple weeks to teach and play. If you're not familiar with the work we're doing in the community, we do classes, concerts, international exchanges, workshops, all throughout the year. Most of our programming is free and open to the public. If you want to find out more information about that, there's an email sign-up list right there, or just ask me. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday, 10 on slaving and winning teaching rooms. But thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. We hope to see you again soon. Take care.
This has all been live streamed on YouTube, so if you missed any part, you want to go back to it, it'll be on YouTube.
What should we look for?
It's on the Ted Brown Music YouTube
Ted
channel.
Brown? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. Glad to.